so that those who have missed will be able to access the session. I request all of you to mute your microphones because there'll be interference, but the session will work together in the session, and there will be some time where we'll break away to rooms, and in those breakaway rooms will be like 4 people in the room. I'll give you time to discuss, and then I'll bring you back to the session so that we can discuss more on what we are learning. So I hope you can all hear me. I want to unmute all of you first and hear your voices before we start. Hello.
Clearly.
Hello.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. So we are going to start the session, and all who have come. So I'll mute you all again, but we'll have a chance. We have a chat room where we can chat and we can share what is going on, the kind of experiences that we are having. So to begin, I would like to share the program. So we have the summary of the webinar, and then we are going to look at observing, teaching, and learning, sharing our experiences. We are going to observe a lesson, a recorded lesson, and we say what we have seen. We are also going to look at moderation of lesson. Why do we moderate lesson observation? So these are the 3 things that we'll be looking at in the next 90 minutes or so. And finally, we are going to have a summary on the next steps. So when you're talking about observing, teaching, and learning, we are expecting that after these 90 minutes, we'll be able to improve our approach to teaching and learning. We are also hoping that we'll have a deeper understanding on how we can improve the quality of teaching and learning. And finally, we are also going to explore some techniques of how we can observe lessons and moderate the observation so that we can raise the standard of teaching and learning. So when you talk about observing, teaching, and learning, I'm sure you have been observing some lessons. What is your experience? Can you type on the chat room some of the experiences you have had on observing, teaching, and learning? Do share in the chat. So we are sharing in the chat your experiences on observing. I can see Samuel Wangombe has talked about student engagement in learning. Thank you, Samuel. I can see Melissa, she's saying children excited to learn. So you're looking at the level of excitement in the learners. Thank you, Melissa. So Hannah is saying making teaching enjoyable and real. Ashira is talking about students are eager to learn. Okay. Okay, we'll move on. So, and then Habel from all the way from Mauritius is talking about excitement in engagement. Regina is talking about teacher and learner being fully engagement. So you can see that what we are talking about is more about learner-centeredness. We are talking about, is learning happening in the classroom? And are we having a sense of participation, active learning in that particular lesson? So you'll find that when you're talking about classroom observation, we are talking about planning. There must be a plan on to observe. I know many people talk about the monitoring by walking around, but if you're talking about having opportunity for growth, whereby the classroom observation is a professional learning opportunity, there must be a plan of action on how it's going to be done. Here we are talking about you have to plan, then you observe, then you give the feedback. So there must be the 3 steps of planning before, having a pre-conferencing with the person you are going to observe, engaging in the observation, and then retrieving back, and then having a conference, pre-post conference of what went well. And that is what we are going to unpack in this particular session. So when you're talking about planning, first of all, there must be clarity on what is it that you're going to observe. Because here we are not finding a fault with our teachers, but we are collaborating to learn what is happening in the classes. So there must be a purpose that I would like to observe how you start your lesson, or what would you like me to observe in your lesson. So there must be a purpose of why am I being observed? And that brings in the element of trust. It brings the element of collaboration, and it engages whoever is being observed to be part and parcel of the observation. So it becomes a collaborative opportunity for the observer and the one who is being observed to learn together. Then there must be an agreement on when are we going to meet. Is it Friday, 3rd lesson? Is it Tuesday in the physics lab after break, the 1st lesson after break? So there must be some clarity, because here you are both participating in the observation. So that participatory needs an agreement on what is happening, when, and how long will I be in your class to observe you. You also need to agree on the focus and what criteria will you use. For example, I want to see how you begin your classes, and I'll be looking at, do you connect with what they learned before? Do you bring in the learning outcomes? Do you pose a key inquiry question for them so that they are ready to start inquiring for that lesson? So there must be clear parameter of what is it that you'll be observing. Remember, it's a learning opportunity. So it's not fault finding. So I have a criteria, this is what I'll be observing you, and this is what I'll be looking at. And then you need to agree that after the lesson, can we meet 2 lessons later? Or can we meet a day after? But make sure it is not very far from the day you observe to the day you are having your post-conference observation. So this is just a step-by-step of how do you plan before you go to observe the learners that you're observing. And finally, after you do your post-conference, you also need to agree what will happen. Are you going to plan to have another follow-up observation so that you see what you had observed, if it has improved, or what kind of arrangement are you having? Sorry for the mishap. Sorry about that. So we are going to continue. I'll replay the video. Thank you, Abdi, for
Speak English.
alerting me.
Then we have to get them up to.
So I will start again. I'll take you back before where we got lost. So I had shared with you the cycle. So after this cycle, what I'm going to do is I want you to watch this video and discuss, listen to observation which is happening there. And you have time to break away and discuss.
The school's 580 students, 75% English as another language background. We have many children who don't speak any English at all when they start. First, we have to get them to be able to speak English. Then we have to get them up to, our aim is above state averages. Now that's
I think we are having a problem with the video, but ideally you were supposed to have watched this video because we shared the link on the WhatsApp, and we are supposed to have looked at the video. So what I'll do, I'll just reshare the link on the chat, but I'll push you into groups so that you can discuss about what you heard or what you think you can do about classroom observation. So I'll break you into rooms for only 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and we continue. So check, you are in rooms with your colleagues. The person with the first letter of the alphabet will be the chair. So we have Abdi in break room 1 is the chair, Christine, break room 2, Bernard, break room 3. So I'll give you 5 minutes in the room. You just discuss about so the room discussion, please discuss about classroom observation. I've joined break room number 5. Habel, how are you? Habel, how are you? Michael Ngugi, how are you? Simon Kibe? We're in the same room. Yes.
Formal feedback will occur and then the plan will be discussed.
Hello? Hannah, Catherine, I'm in your room. Hi, Lisa. It's supposed to open, but I have the video. It's not opening, but you need to go back to the link there. There's a link which, okay, I'll share the video. So are you still in your rooms? Okay, we are going to go back to our main room now. I want us to return to our main room. Hello, Abdi. Link iko nilidownload hiyo video. Wacha nione kana za ya kuconnect. Nishaweka, angalia. Nashindwa kurudi kwa groups.
Dr. G, you are muted.
Sorry. Welcome back to the group. And I hope you had a discussion in your groups. It might be a unique experience talking to each other in small groups. But the idea was for you to discuss among yourself what you need for the feedback process to go well, and what you take from that particular video. I've shared the video link I've uploaded actually the video in the chat because the link was not working, so I had to go back and actually get where it was. So if you go to the chat, you will see the video, which I've shared as a file. And if you're not able, you just let me know. We can see how we can share with you. But it is there uploading. Actually, it is midway, it's 27 MB. So once it is full, you'll get it there. So what I like us to do is to continue with our session, and then we'll have another session to discuss while the video is coming up. So one thing we know about classroom observation is quality teaching and quality teaching. And we need to understand what is quality teaching, because you're going to observe, what are you going to look at, and what kind of feedback are you going to give. So when you're talking about quality teaching, we are talking about one, the knowledge and understanding of the subject. The person you are observing, are they able to understand what they are teaching? And do they know their students? Then the second one is planning. Did the teacher plan with clear objective in mind? Whatever they are delivering, is it speaking to what is required? Then setting expectation. Are they setting very high expectation? The teachers, when they deliver, are they setting very high expectation for what is happening in terms of the way they are teaching? The climate where the learners are learning, is it conducive to learning? Is it supporting learning? And time management. Are they able to manage time when they are facilitating their session? Are they able to facilitate time? Are they able to balance their time accordingly so that they're able to reach everybody as they are teaching? Then the strategies they are using, are they meeting the needs of the learners, and is it challenging the learners? For example, effective questioning. Are they using strategies which are actually meeting the needs of the learner? The classroom have opportunities for learners to discuss in groups, for learners to contribute sharing ideas, for learners to practice what they're being taught. Are the materials appropriate in terms of supporting the realization of the learning outcome? Are they inviting the learners to learn? Are they inspiring the learner? Are they motivating the learners so that the learners are able to learn? Then the kind of feedback the students are getting, is it praise? Is it critical feedback? Is it constructive feedback? Does it reward effort? And finally, is the teacher able to assess where the learners are in terms of the realization of the student's learning outcome. So these are the things which we go to check when we are looking at the classroom. When we want to learn together with the teacher, these are some of the things that we observe. But remember, in the classroom, it's not only teaching which is happening, learning is also happening. So we also need to check learning. And when we are checking learning, we are looking at the high expectation, the positive mindset. Are the learners able to manage their time well? We are looking at, are they acquiring knowledge, skills, attitudes, and value? The way the lesson is being presented, is it creating an opportunity for the acquisition, enhancement of competency, acquisition of knowledge and skills, catching of values, as well as a changing of attitude? Is it increasing their depth of knowledge? And this is demonstrated by, are they able to do something based on that, what they are learning? Are they demonstrating some progress? If you observe them before the lesson starts, after the lesson is developing, the lesson before, the lesson after, are you seeing evidence of growth in terms of development? Are they able to transfer their algebra skills to real life situation? Because many learners, for example, when you're teaching probability, they say, how will I use this in my life? So are you designing the lesson in a way that they're transferring the skills to real life situation? Are they able to engage? Are they asking questions? Are they responding to questions? Because questioning is very, very important for deep learning. It creates opportunities for learners to deepen their learning and also to demonstrate where they are when they are learning. Are they able to work productively? The kind of pace, they're not just the kind of pace that they're doing, as well as the way they're learning, is their productivity in terms of what they're doing. Then are they authors and owners of their learning? The way the lesson is being developed, do you see that they own this particular learning? Do you see that they are authoring the learning, or are they just consumers? Because at this age and time, we want prosumers, learners who are able to take in and bring out new ideas based on the learning experience. So two things we look at. We look at the teaching and we look at learning. So it's not one-sided, it's both teaching and learning. And finally, are they working together? So this is very, very important to understand. Are they working as individual or as a team? Because collaboration and communication is one of the competences of the 21st century learner. And that is what we are trying to build when we are working with these learners. So that is an opportunity also to ask them, are they building these skills when they are working or they're engaging with the teachers? So we can use classroom observations to improve the quality of teaching and learning. That is something which we need to do. So what I need us to do now is we need to understand that we need to moderate. Moderation is very, very important, so that when you're observing, you need to understand how would you define moderation. Anybody to share, how would you define moderation? You can use the chat, or I can unmute you and you can say.
Using moderation is listening to both parties so that you don't domineer.
Thank you very much.
That's Regina.
Thank you, Regina. Somebody else? Thank you very much, Regina. Yes, Hannah?
What I understand by moderation is have to have several lesson observations, so that now you can be able to compare. So that now you can come up with the best. I think that is what I understand with moderation when it comes to lesson observation.
Thank you very much. Somebody else?
For me, I think it's not being extra critical, not looking so much into going into the excesses, but being in the middle.
Thank you very much, Abdi. Winnie Washira, you are saying something?
Yes, moderation is where you become fair. You don't become, you are not extreme. Not being overcritical, not being too mild.
Okay, thank you very much. Abel, are you speaking?
Coming in between.
It's about everybody coming with their different opinions over something, whatever aspect, and eventually coming to an agreement.
Okay. So you can see all your definitions are talking about multiplicity of sources. And when you have multiplicity of sources, you have ways in which you can rethink of having fair judgment and having a lot of voices, which you can get from different sessions. So when you're talking about moderation, to moderate, how to use multiple sources. You can also have peer observation, so that you're not the only one who is observing, but there are other people who are observing, so you are many observing. You can use video. You can put a camera in your class and just record yourself and then come and check again. So you are relooking at what you have. You can use a lesson proforma. That is a lesson observation proforma, and see what happens. So you're seeing we have multiple sources of observation. You can also use students' books. And we use the terminology of triangulation, where we are talking about using multiple sources, using a lot of voices, using multiple evidences. Before you come to a conclusion of something, you have multiple evidence on what you have been observing. Can anybody add any other source which we can use? I've unmuted you. Any other source you think we can use?
Through micro teaching.
Through micro teaching, that is good.
Yes.
Yes, that is good, through micro teaching. Somebody else?
Allowing the student's voice.
Yes, allowing the student's voice, because students, they tell you a lot. They'll tell you what they like, what they don't like, how they're being treated. That will give you another version, another perspective. Yes, Habib?
What about structured observation?
Yes, structured observation. I can see Kibe, you want to say something?
Maybe receive a feedback from the parents also.
Yes, you hear the feedback from parents. They can tell you they are able to read. Okay, so you can see that there are several things which I've sent you a video because I want you to observe our lesson, but not now. I'll tell you when you go to breakaway rooms to discuss. But now we want to see some of these. So one of them is video classroom. For example, this class.
Do you remember seeing a well on your tablet? Yes. So is a well a mammal or a what?
So you can have lessons.
Look in your tablets, you'll see a well.
So you can record lesson and you can use those lessons for observation. You can review students' work And when you review students' work, you can see what is happening, as you have said. You can also use lesson observation format. So these are some of the things that you can use. So I've sent you a video of a class. I would like you to observe that video. It's only 5 minutes. Only observe the first 5 minutes. Then I'll take you to breakaway room. And I want you in your rooms, you discuss that particular video. Habel, I can see your hand up. I've sent you a video. I'd like you to observe that video, listen to the video, and then I'll take you to a breakaway room, and then you will discuss that video. So let's take 5 minutes to watch the video I've sent you. Go to the chat room, you will see the video. You can play, watch 5 minutes. It's a phonics lesson for grade 1. Can we all see the video in our chat?
Is it the one titled Video Playback 8?
Yes, 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 yes.
That's it. Is it here?
So watch that, and I'll take you to breakaway rooms.
Okay.
And then you'll do. So I've opened the rooms. You can go to rooms now. Yes, Abdi. Wacha nikupeleke kwa room nyingine basi. Hawa wengine hawajaingia wako. Wacha nikupeleke kwa room 5, sawa. Nimekumove, hebu angalia kama umeenda. Okay, I've joined this room. How are you, Charles, Felix? Hello, Felix. How are you, Catherine, Gaiti, and Charles? I've joined your room. What can you share about the video? Catherine, what can you share about the video? Yes, Regina.
Can't locate video.
Yeah?
I can't locate the video you're supposed to watch.
It is in the chat. In the chat, there is a video link. It is written video play. Let me share it again. There's a file which I just, it's called video playback. So check in the chat room, it's uploading. It's 38.9 MB.
Okay.
It's uploading there, almost done. Yes. Video iko kwa nini kwa chat room. Yeah, there's a link imeandikwa video playback. Angalia kwa chat room. And I'm uploading another one inakuja sasa imefika 17 MB. The total is 38 MB. Just check the chat. The problem is I'm breakout room 2, which let me leave the room, then put it in the main. Let me return. I'm going back to the. Yes.
Yes, you can hear you, Daktari.
Yeah, I am in this room now. I've put it in the chat. You can see it's uploading.
Yeah.
There's a file, but meanwhile, any discussion, anybody who watched it before?
No.
because we are supposed to go back to the main room, but I'm trying to send it to you, but it's not,
Yeah.
I've uploaded, but I'm not seeing it going. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
But it was there in the main room. The problem now, you're not in the main room. But this was, it was a teacher teaching grade 1 on phonics. And
Yeah.
let me see if I play, will you see my screen? Let me see if you can see. Can you see the screen?
You can. Yeah.
Let's see if you can hear. Although I'm being unfair because people in the other room are
We can see.
That's how Mrs. Knowles says I would like to. For my list today, Joseph Hoyle, are you ready for your challenge? Right there. Right there. Can you give me the letter name, please? Fantastic. And Edward, your challenge is stink at that one. Fantastic. And Joe Wainwright, when are you giving away? Oh, you're right into it. Excellent, young man. It's a G.
So maybe can we discuss on what we have seen, the short portion? Because other people are in other classes and...
Yeah.
So...
Okay.
What can you say about this?
Classroom control.
Yeah. The students are very focused.
Yes. Ongombe, you're talking about classroom control?
Yes, whereby despite the number of learners they have been engaged.
Yeah.
So control has been made easy by the teacher's demonstration and kind of acting.
Thank you. Somebody else? That's a good observation. What about the class setup? Because when you go to observe, remember we say the environment, the teaching and learning.
The teacher is using different resources, not only one.
Yes, there are multiplicity of resources. Yeah, thank you, Krista.
And also the participation of the children.
Yes.
It is learner-centered.
Yeah, it's learner-centered, and she's calling the students by the name, saying so and so.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, if you are to give this teacher feedback, you have observed that short session, what will you tell her?
Personally, I would first appreciate her effort and creativity. Secondly, I would encourage the teacher now to engage the learners themselves.
Wow.
Peer teaching.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for the suggestion. Somebody else?
Also, the children individually, to know they are all saying, to if their individuals are learning.
Okay. And if you observe it further, you'll see what you are saying.
She's a good teacher.
If we go ahead, you'll see she's calling students by the name and telling them to come in front. And so what we are going to do, we will go ahead because of time. I want to bring everybody back to the rooms.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to take everybody back to the room, to the main room. So welcome back to the room. I hope you had a very nice discussion in your rooms. quickly, I want to hear from your stations in the room. How was it? We were discussing that lesson, and let me hear from some of you what you observed, what you discussed together.
Yes.
Yes.
Daktari? Yeah, students are fully engaged.
Mm. That was from which
throughout
room?
the lesson.
That was from which room?
5.
Room 5. Another report from another room? Yes, Hannah?
I don't know our room's number, but we were with Habel.
Uh-huh.
What I can say about that lesson,
yes,
is children are very familiar with the sound. Just before practicing, very familiar with the sound. And the teacher is able to take children through each sound before connecting two sounds. And that procedure is very good. Though I can see somehow chorus answers, more chorus answers.
Okay.
Which is not very encouraging.
Thank you very much for that observation. Can we have somebody from another room to tell us their experience?
The children are well engaged. This is room 4.
Yes.
The children are well engaged, all of them.
Okay.
That is control.
Thank you very much. Somebody else from another room?
The teacher has made learning very interesting.
Oh, thank you very much. The teacher has made learning very interesting.
And another room?
Yes, another room?
Yes, room 4.
Yes.
From room 2?
The introduction.
Room 2.
Yes. We have room 2 and room 4. Can we have room 4 first? Then we have room 2.
Yeah, the introduction was very captivating to the learners.
Thank you.
Yes.
Room 2.
There's
We are having a problem
on the part of the learners, like when the teacher brings them.
Yes. Okay. So you can see that we just observed a small class, and we were able to give feedback regarding what we saw. So we are going to proceed, and I'll ask you to share. How will you organize peer observation in your school? Now that you have been able to observe here, how would you organize peer observation in your school? Any idea? Yes, Simon Kibe?
I think I can invite another teacher for like a few minutes or just to observe.
Yes.
And then let me know later about what she or he thinks about the lesson.
Thank you very much. Can we have another one?
Yes.
Yes.
I would consider all the processes of planning, observation, and feedback. And most of all, I would also encourage recording first. We record the lesson, then we go over it so that we may be able to fine-tune the areas that need improvement and support.
Great.
Hello?
We have Felix.
Hello?
Felix, can you say something?
Yeah, I would say I think it will be very, very important to agree on the area of focus, as you had said in the introduction, when we were beginning the session.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very important to agree on exactly what you're going to observe,
mm-hmm.
and therefore plan only around that area before you go for the actual observation.
Thank you very much. Felix is joining all the way from the US. Habel from Mauritius.
I would talk of having a prior meeting to agree on what to assess, and then being open-minded to be willing to also receive the feedback at the end of the session.
Okay.
That's another thing, and going into that meeting with a very positive mindset that it's meant for constructive, to edify the teacher rather than to criticize. I think we need to have a prior meeting and the meeting after to discuss whether the objective was met.
Thank you very much, Habel, all the way from Mauritius. Huntington, we have a facilitator in the room, Abdi Kadir.
Yeah, I think first, like my colleagues have said, you prepare yourself and you also prepare the teacher so that you have an agreement on what it is that you will want to observe. You know the framework from which you are basing your evaluation, because that will help. And then secondly, that you base it mainly on the learning and not on the teaching, so that the teacher understands you are looking at how the students are learning, but not at the way the teacher is teaching. That is not the main focus.
Excellent. So I'm hearing creating a very conducive environment of collaboration. So somebody else wants to say something before we proceed? Yes, Wanjiro?
Yes, explore the areas of observation with the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Agree on the time.
Okay. So you will find that lesson observation, you can also film the lesson. So you can record part of the lesson as what Abdi has said and what Abel had also said. And then you can record, and this recording can also be used, because if you record one teacher, you can use it when you're training other teachers to tell them what is happening. You can also use the video for their own lesson. I remember back in 2001, I used to record myself using an old camera so that I see what I'm doing. Sometimes teachers don't believe when you tell them something, but when they record themselves and they observe themselves, they realize a lot of things which they need to know. So what is the advantage of recording yourself? Can somebody share? What is the advantage of recording yourself?
You are able to critique yourself.
You're able to identify.
Yes.
Who's going first?
Yes.
The teacher herself will be able to critique herself.
It helps in time management.
It helps in time management.
Yeah.
Something else?
I want to say that
areas of improvement.
Yes.
You're able to identify areas where you can improve.
Okay.
And work on your methods.
Yes. Felix, you're saying something?
Yeah, I was saying that it provides a very good platform for self-critique, which is usually very, very objective.
Yes.
In the sense that you can be able to reflect objectively that this is what I did, this is my action. Was it right or was it wrong? What do I need to improve?
I was looking for that word, objectivity. Because many times during a session, you find that people try to defend themselves. So thank you very much for that. So you can also use a pro forma, like there's a lesson observation form, which we have from TSC and from other organizations. And you can use it to look at, for example, I can go and look at what somebody observed, and I can see what they recorded, what kind of judgment they make. So I can be able to learn from that particular pro forma. So if I come to a school and I look at lesson observation forms which have been filled, I can draw a profile of the teacher which they have observed, and it can tell me about that particular teacher. But the key thing, as everybody has said, is triangulation. As you are coming to the end, is you need to use multiple sources to support your observation. Because it is very, very important. You don't come one day, you found me late, and you start telling me I'm always late, and you talk about many things. You have not checked student work, you have not used any other observation method. So it's very critical that when you are observing, you use multiple methods to observe, because it cushions you. You might make a decision on something, but when you go and look for another reference material, you might change your way. So can you post on the chat some of the triangulation approaches we can use? Go to the chat and post some ways we can use to triangulate observation. Just type some of the ways we can use for triangulation.
Is it the chat on the webinar?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So type in some ways which we can use to triangulate when you're observing a teacher. Okay, Christelle has talked about student project. Felix has talked about student views. Yes, Samuel Wangombe has talked about self-evaluation. I want 2 more. Once we get 5, we proceed as we are coming to a closure. Somebody has talked about premeditated chat. Regina Opondo, thank you. Abdul Kadir has talked about learners' feedback. Thank you very much. So we have reached the 5. We have peer evaluation from Winnie Washira. Thank you very much. So we are going to proceed, and the final activity is following what we have had. What will you do differently? I want to break you into rooms so that you discuss what are you going to do different now that you have attended this session. So let's go to the breakout rooms for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We discuss, share with your colleagues.
Do more meaningful observations.
So let's go to our rooms and discuss, and then we'll come back and close. This is the last activity. So we are all in our different rooms, and we are discussing what are we going to do differently. Hello, Huntington. Huntington. You're supposed to join a room, room 2. So we have 3 rooms, and that is what we are discussing now. Then after the 3 rooms, we are going to come back to our main room. The next few minutes. So we have 3 more minutes for the people who are discussing in their groups. And then we'll come back to the main room and we close the last 10 minutes by people sharing what they have learned from the different rooms. So we have only 3 more minutes, maybe, and the people are discussing in their rooms. We have different rooms, and I don't want to join in and disturb their rooms, but we have room 1 with Abdi, Charles, Huawei, Habel, Hannah Mambo. We have room 3 with Abdi, Beverly, Felix, Hannington, Regina, Winnie, and we have room 4, which is Crystal, Galaxy, Lois, Mokiri, Salmon, and Wanjiro. So we have 2 more minutes of, I'm sure the rooms are having very intense discussions. And then after that, we are going to come back and we finish with our discussion. We have a minute left. Now everybody will be coming back to the room. So I want everybody to come back in a minute. We're all going to come back to our room in 49 seconds. Hello, Bwana Kimodo. Oh, kwa sababu hata yeye anasema hana simu, acha nimwambie basi kama anaweza kupigia. Okay, welcome back to our main room. Welcome back to our main room. Welcome back to our main room. I'm sure you had a nice discussion. And as you're coming back, I'd like to unmute everybody so that already Abdi is here. I want to unmute everybody. Welcome back to the main room. I hope you had a good discussion in your rooms. So we have 5 minutes and I'd like quick points on what you discussed in your rooms. Who's going to share?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we have talked of collaboration.
Yes.
And we focus our teaching and learning to learners so that they may be in a position to give us a feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And through that feedback, we'll be able to have a self-reflection.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. We had only 4 rooms. Somebody else for another room?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Another room? Thank you, Angombe, from your room. I'm waiting for somebody.
Yeah, room number 4. Maybe they can also have an addition.
Okay.
We have a lot.
Yes.
Bullying is not allowed. Anyway.
Yes.
From room number 4, it was good to hear part of the discussion, the teacher observation feedback, which is given to which is the document used a lot by most of us. But apart from that document, the sitting down, whether face-to-face or by virtual platforms, sitting down to share what that feedback is about, because sometimes the written feedback can be misinterpreted.
Okay.
So there could be sitting down to discuss the feedback from the peer session.
Sure.
Another one was having recommendations on what to improve on, so that in the next peer session, it is working. That was another one that came from our class. I think I forgot one. Pardon me for forgetting this short time.
Okay. Thank you very much, Habel. That was good. Okay.
I can add.
Yes.
I can add from the same group. I can add what Habel might have left out.
Yes.
What I'll do differently is I'll try to be looking out for learning. Look at the behaviors, relationships, the purpose, the sense of drive and purposeness. Are students asking questions? Are explanations given? Is there responsive teaching? So that I don't look at the teacher, I look at how the students are learning.
Excellent.
We are concentrated so much on the teacher.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Somebody from the last room so that we close. You guys you are so fabulous and you're doing so well. Christelle, can you tell us something from your room? Or it has always been said?
They've already raised, but yeah, they've been raised.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your active participation. And I really enjoyed, and sorry for moving you away back and from. I like Louisa, if you're in the room, please, can you do a closure? And before that, Abdi say something, Hannington, the facilitators who are in the room. Abdi?
Thank you, Dr. Ari. I think it is an important session that we've gone through. It's an area that we've always taken for granted, the issue of providing feedback to our teachers, especially when we observe their lessons, and what it is that we observe lessons. One thing that has come out clearly, even from our discussions, is that we usually do this very hurriedly, and there is need to create more time before the observation, doing the observation and then looking for information after that. It should be a whole process. It's not a once-off thing, so that we can learn from it, and we should go with an open mind to learn from the observation, not just to look at whom we are observing and then giving them our feedback, but what is it that we are taking away from the observation, so that as school leaders we can learn better about what is happening inside our schools. Thank you, Dr. Ari.
Thank you very much. Hannington, can you say something as you close? These are facilitators.
Oh, thank you, Dr. G.
Yes?
From today's session, one thing that is very essential is that feedback must never be taken for granted, because from it we are able to move to the next direction. One of the things that we've learned today, even as we are moving using this technology, the issue of the breakaway groups is something very fresh today. Maybe several of us have learned something from it. We can take it to the next level. It is also an aspect of feedback. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannington. We have another facilitator, Felix, all the way from the US.
Thank you, Dr. G, for that opportunity. I wanted to say something that came out from our group.
Yes.
I was hoping that one of the members would be able to say it. The whole idea of video recording, self-recording for the purpose of objective evaluation of our practice, I think that's something we can really embrace, especially now that we are in the technology era. We have simple devices that you can simply take to the classroom, like say your phone, put it at a strategic position, record yourself, go and self-critique, give your own views, and then you can also share that video with a friend as peer, you know, get some feedback from a peer and then try to combine the two feedbacks. That's an idea perhaps we can all take for the purpose of growing our own selves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we go to Louisa, the one who invited us to this call.
Thank you, Daktari. And thank you everyone who made the time to join. I think I was in the group that was with Felix. And the other thing that we discussed was the importance of the pre-meetings. And not only to prepare that, to allow the teacher to have time to prepare in advance, but also just before the lesson observation, to have that session just to be clear on, this is what we are observing and how do you focus more on observing the learning than the teaching. So I think it's been quite enjoyable and refreshing, as Haddington has said, to have the small breakout sessions. I think for me, one of the lessons I'm taking forward is to try out all the technology before, because Dr. G was very prompt to share the videos as homework, and I did not do my homework before coming to the session. And so that compromised on the quality of discussions I was able to have in the groups. And I know I'm not alone. So I'm looking forward to the next webinar. You've really managed to make it very interactive. I feel like I've been in the same room with the people I was with, Dr. Regina. We were able to have enough time to share in our small breakout rooms as if you were in a physical classroom. So well done, Dr. I'm hoping everyone here for the next session will have done all our pre-assignments. And then I think we will have a very, very rich discussion. So it's a learning process. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking their time.
And Lisa, before you go, the link down there is for the next pre-reading. Can you copy the link down there? Because that is how you're going to access the documents to prepare for the final webinar. It is https://tinyurl.com/webinar3jpg.
Okay.
Please copy that so that when Louisa invites us for another, we are going to discuss about how do you make a joint practice development with your team. So Louisa, make your closing remarks as people copy this.
Haven't I just made my closing remarks, Dr. G?
You need to declare this session closed.
Fine. Thank you, people. Please stay safe. Let's keep in touch in the forums. We are all concerned about ourselves, our families, and also about each other. It would be good to know that we are all safe. So thank you, and have a good weekend. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Keep safe.
Bye.
Bye.